How can you say something like this with a straight face?
And when you think about the worst moments in American history,
News.
you know, like World War II,
Oh my God.
things that happened, you know, like the Holocaust, chattel slavery. We need to never forget, because past becomes prologue if you forget any race.
You've probably already heard the headlines. Sunny Hostin, the outspoken co-host of The View, is facing backlash, not for her usual controversial takes, but for the massive scandal surrounding her husband, Dr. Emanuel Hustin. The accusations of insurance fraud, unnecessary surgeries, and a RICO lawsuit involving 180 defendants have been all over the news. But what you may not know is how this story goes far beyond the surface. And then there's Joe Rogan. If you followed his podcast, you know he doesn't hold back, and this time he took aim at Sunny Hostin with a takedown so brutal it has everyone talking. Rogan called out not only her silence on her husband's scandal, but also the hypocrisy of someone who has spent years lecturing others about morality. He even went as far as to roast The View itself in a way that has sparked a firestorm across social media. But here's the thing. While everyone else is rehashing the same headlines, this channel is here to dig deeper. We're going to break down what Joe Rogan said, why Sunny Hostin has stayed silent, and what this entire scandal means for her reputation and the future of The View. By the end of this video, you'll see this story from an angle no one else is covering. If you think you've already seen it all, think again, because what we're about to uncover will make you question everything. Let's dive in.
I want you guys to see of Sunny Hostin on The View, Tom, basically implicating her husband in this type of a scheme. Play the clip, Rob.
Like my husband, you know, operates on someone even though they don't have insurance, and then has to sue health insurance companies to get paid for the work that he's been trained his whole life to do.
Sunny Hostin has spent years building her reputation as a vocal advocate for justice, equality, and accountability. But while she's been pointing fingers on national television, a shocking storm has been brewing much closer to home. Dr. Emanuel Hustin, her husband, is facing accusations of federal insurance fraud that involve hundreds of defendants, millions of dollars, and one of the largest RICO lawsuits ever filed in New York. What makes this story so explosive isn't just the scale of the lawsuit, it's the hypocrisy. Sunny has made a career out of critiquing others, yet her silence on this scandal is deafening. While other channels might skim the surface of this controversy, we're digging deeper to uncover the uncomfortable truths behind the headlines. To understand the gravity of this case, you have to grasp what's at stake. The RICO Act, typically reserved for taking down mob bosses and organized crime syndicates, is now being wielded against doctors, surgeons, and medical practices. And at the heart of it all is Dr. Emanuel Hustin, accused of masterminding a complex scheme involving unnecessary surgeries, fraudulent insurance billing, and financial kickbacks.
Sunny's dumb. Certainly not the brightest person. And what she just said just doesn't make any sense. It's just like so silly to say. It's not a well thought out. It's like if you had an idea for a premise and it was totally baked and half baked, and you went on stage with it, and it's nothing.
Just
there.
go for it. Yeah,
it's nothing.
But here's where the story takes an even darker turn. Court documents allege that Dr. Hustin and his associates not only targeted unsuspecting patients, but may have also falsified medical records to justify high-risk surgeries. Imagine being told you need an invasive operation only to discover later that it was never necessary, that you were just a line item on someone's financial ledger. And it doesn't stop there. A whistleblower from within Dr. Hustin's own practice has reportedly come forward with explosive allegations. According to leaked testimony, patients weren't just subjected to unnecessary surgeries, they were pressured to sign non-disclosure agreements, effectively silencing them from questioning or reporting their experiences. The whistleblower also claimed that the practice kept a secret priority list of patients whose insurance policies were most lucrative, pushing these individuals to undergo procedures they didn't need. Think about it. Patients trusting their doctor with their health only to allegedly become pawns in a financial game. According to the lawsuit, Dr. Hustin's network didn't just exploit loopholes in the healthcare system, they weaponized them, creating a profit machine fueled by pain, vulnerability, and deception.
That's bigger than the mafia case. Like the mafia one was number one. This one takes it over. So he was scamming insurance companies from taxi.
But here's where things get even murkier. American Transit Insurance, the company filing the lawsuit, isn't exactly innocent either. With a long history of underpaying doctors, denying claims, and manipulating legal loopholes to save money, their motivations are also being called into question. Could this lawsuit be an act of retribution, a desperate attempt to shift blame and recover their losses? Or are they genuinely uncovering one of the most corrupt schemes in healthcare history? In a shocking twist, newly surfaced allegations suggest that the ties between Dr. Hustin's practice and American Transit Insurance go back much further than anyone initially thought. Internal memos from the insurance company, leaked by an anonymous source, hint that some of their executives may have been aware of the fraudulent activities but chose to turn a blind eye until the financial fallout became impossible to ignore. This isn't just a case of doctors versus insurance companies. It's a tangled web of corruption, greed, and betrayal, where no one is completely innocent, and the people who suffer the most are the patients who put their trust in the system.
I saw you on The View.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's been overwhelming my past couple days. So I just went in there, did my thing. I had no idea what to expect. I didn't know who Sonny Hostin was. I actually still really don't know.
As this case continues to unravel, it's becoming clear that what started as a lawsuit against one doctor could expose a much larger network of corruption, one that stretches from private practices to the boardrooms of major insurance companies. And while the courtroom drama unfolds, the public is left to wonder, how deep does this scandal really go? Sonny Hostin's usual approach to controversy is to confront it head-on. Yet, when it comes to her husband's legal battles, she's been unusually quiet. Why? Is she standing by him, or is this silence a PR strategy to protect her own image? The irony is thick. This is the same Sonny who's never hesitated to criticize others for their moral failings. Now, she finds herself in a position where her moral compass is being questioned. The public is left wondering, if Sonny truly believes in transparency and accountability, why hasn't she addressed this explosive case? While mainstream media has carefully tiptoed around the scandal, Joe Rogan dove straight into the heart of it with the kind of no-holds-barred commentary that has made his podcast a global phenomenon. Rogan, never one to mince words, didn't just touch on the allegations against Dr. Emanuel Hustin. He outright questioned the integrity of Sonny Hostin and the entire panel of The View. On a recent episode of the Joe Rogan Experience, he launched into a scathing critique saying, "How does someone like Sonny Hostin, who spends every day wagging her finger at the rest of America about morality and accountability, stay completely silent when her own household is caught up in what could be one of the biggest medical fraud cases in US history? It's hypocrisy at its finest, and it's everything people hate about elitism in Hollywood and media." But Rogan didn't stop there. In his signature style, he unloaded on The View as a whole, delivering the now viral line, "If you average out the IQ of The View hosts, you might still struggle to hit triple digits." Harsh? Absolutely. But for Rogan's millions of listeners, it was a cathartic moment. A brutal takedown of a show they've long criticized as being out of touch with real-world issues. And then came the kicker. Rogan dropped a bombshell that no one saw coming. You know what the real scandal is? It's not just about Dr. Hustin. It's about how these media figures build these fake personas of perfection and moral superiority.
In what appears to be an ironic twist of fate, the husband of Sonny Hostin from The View, he has been accused of federal insurance fraud in the largest RICO case ever filed in the state of New York. Orthopedic surgeon Dr. Emanuel Hustin is among nearly 200 defendants named in this case. He's accused of getting kickbacks by performing surgery and fraudulently billing a company that insures taxi companies, Uber, and Lyft drivers. This lawsuit alleges that Hostin and his co-defendants knowingly provided fraudulent medical and other healthcare services, including arthroscopic surgeries. The insurance firm American Transit was then billed in exchange for kickbacks and/or other compensation, which were disguised as dividends or other cash distributions. Hostin's attorney told the Daily Mail, ironically or unironically, his client denies each and every allegation and called the lawsuit, unironically, blanket, scattershot, meritless lawsuit by a near-bankrupt insurance carrier.
I've heard whispers that this lawsuit isn't the first time Sonny's husband's ethics have been called into question. People are saying there's been a pattern of questionable practices that's been swept under the rug for years. Things that certain insiders at The View have known about and chosen to ignore to protect their brand. If that's true, this isn't just a scandal, it's a cover-up. Rogan's words sent shockwaves through social media, with fans and critics alike dissecting every line. Some praised him for exposing what they see as Hollywood hypocrisy, while others accused him of going too far. But one thing is certain, Rogan's critique has forced Sonny Hostin into a spotlight she likely didn't want. Adding fuel to the fire, Rogan also called out the media for their selective outrage, saying, "Why isn't this a bigger story? If this were happening to someone on the other side of the political spectrum, you'd have every news outlet tearing them apart 24/7. But when it's one of their own, it's silence. The hypocrisy is unbelievable." Rogan's comments didn't just hit Sunny, they forced her viewers to confront a larger question. Is the media protecting its own? His critique has sparked a larger conversation about trust, accountability, and the narratives we're fed by Hollywood and the media elite. As the backlash grows and the internet debates Rogan's take, one thing is clear: this story is far from over. Whether you agree with Rogan or not, his fiery takedown has added a whole new layer to an already explosive scandal, leaving fans and critics alike eagerly awaiting Sunny Hostin's next move, if she even decides to make one. This scandal isn't just about one doctor or one lawsuit. It's a symptom of a much larger problem in our healthcare system. When profits take precedence over patient care, trust erodes. Patients walk into a doctor's office expecting help, but leave feeling like they've been taken advantage of. Dr. Hustin's case raises uncomfortable questions. How many other doctors are gaming the system? How many insurance companies are complicit? And most importantly, how can patients protect themselves in a system that seems rigged against them? As the courtroom drama unfolds, the ripple effects are being felt far beyond the Hustin household. This case has the potential to shake the medical industry to its core, exposing a web of corruption that could redefine how we think about healthcare in America. But the fallout doesn't stop there. Sunny's credibility is on the line. The public isn't just questioning her husband's actions, they're questioning her judgment, her integrity, and her ability to stay silent in the face of such a massive scandal. Whether Dr. Emanuel Hustin is guilty or innocent, this case has already revealed some unsettling truths about the intersections of power, money, and trust in both the medical and media worlds. And while other channels might stop at the headlines, we're committed to bringing you the stories no one else will. Because here, it's not just about telling the story, it's about uncovering the truth. So, if you're tired of cookie-cutter content and want to see what really lies beneath the surface, make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned. This is just the beginning.